Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another broadcast of Fast Break here, live on IE Sports Radio. You're the Rick for all sports, and you're welcome to join us. On tonight's show, we'll discuss the first week of NBA tip-off, what we've thought, early thoughts so far, who's surprising us, who's not, and what's in the between right now. Plus, is JJ Redick the right move for the Lakers? 3-0 so far in the season. And also the Lakers, we give our deep thoughts on Bronny James and his debut with LeBron. Why the haters so mad about the moment? Plus, we'll talk about the WNBA finals we talked about last week, the championship, all that. We'll give our final thoughts there. You know, what the thoughts of Liberty winning, our final thoughts of the WNBA season as a whole, and their future. Because momentum going to go up. So we'll discuss that much more. D-Log, how you doing tonight, too?
Everything's going pretty decent, man. My team did take a loss today with them little ball about, but it's all good. I bounced back. My Magic looked pretty decent, so I'm doing pretty well. NBA season is definitely back, man. It looked like a playoff team early, though, so it'd be game champ.
So, you heard the man there. We'll dive into everything after there are a couple words our sponsors and a word from IE Sports Radio. Like I said, this is Fast Break. NBA tip-off is here. We're going to keep y'all locked in, but this is Fast Break here for IE Sports Radio. You're the Rick for all sports. We'll catch y'all on the other side. Now, a word from our sponsors.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax Stamps, and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back. We're back. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight on this kind of, depending where you're at, warm, chilly, October 27th day. I'm one half of your host, Davidson Crooks. Other side, that's D-Lock. This is Fast Break for IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all sports. Thank you for joining us for tonight. And thank you to our sponsors, Planet Jerky. Do check out the website, planetjerky.net. Do follow them on Instagram. Sell a lot of great stuff in there. Also, Seal the Deal Waxes. Do check them out on Instagram and sealthedealwaxes.com as well. And like I said, check out iSportsRadio.com to get all the latest shows, news, and feeds. All of our shows on this beautiful network that we have here for y'all. Also, before I get rolling, show us on X/Twitter, FastBreakerISR. That's our handle right there. Been talking a lot of basketball for the past couple of days on there as well. So, now we got all that the way, D-Lock. The NBA is finally here. We're finally here. After, a good intermission during the summer, that summer league, the Olympics happened. So, got what our appetite's there. Now we're into the crux to the season, starting the season. Week 1 is here for the NBA. I know it's like 3 or 4 games in, depending on how you look at it. What are your early thoughts of the NBA season? Who's surprising you so far, team or player-wise? Who's a disappointment to you, team or player-wise? Or are we kind of overblowing things? I'll let you lead off. What are your disappointments and surprises so far?
Well, there's only been a few games, so it's getting very, very interesting. I think my biggest surprise is one of the biggest surprises to me is how Boston Celtics look. I mean, I know we're talking about the NBA champs, but they just look like they are head and shoulders above everybody. It doesn't seem like anybody can play with them right now. Jason Tatum literally has been motivated, but not playing in the Olympics that much, as we can see. So the Celtics, man, for them to come out, swinging like that, and obviously looking at their schedule and seeing when there's a chance that they actually can lose a game, it's gonna be a little bit of a time until they lose a game, man. I think that they're gonna be a team for us to watch out for. Possibly, I know it's early, but we talk about record potentially breaking as far as the most wins in the season. I think that's something that could be talked about with Boston. So I definitely like what they are looking for. Look how they look. Another surprise to me, even though I shouldn't be surprised being a fan, is my Orlando Magic. They look like they're using the momentum that they left off with last year. They started to get it going last year, understanding how good they can be, and now starting the season off, a huge blowout to the Miami Heat was a big shocker. Usually Orlando and Miami start off against each other in the beginning of the season. We're used to seeing Miami start out with a W. That has changed. So not only that, they look very flawless doing it. So, and a take from that, like I said, those are my big surprises, and I will move on to my disappointments. Miami Heat. I haven't seen them look too impressive. I was expecting a little bit more of what we've seen them do since 2020. Getting to the NBA Finals. But I think that this team is kind of shocking right now. We do know the situation with Jimmy Butler, and Pat Riley. So to me, they're kind of a big surprise to me, a little bit of a disappointment. I definitely was expecting them to be better, be playing better, but we haven't seen that. Another team that's somewhat a little bit of disappointment, but kind of question to see how their season is going to go is the Denver Nuggets. I think the big move of signing Russ, we'll see how that plays, right? I think that them having an intention to get him, but now it's kind of like I've seen multiple times where they have Russ and Jamal Murray on the court together, having Jamal Murray playing off the ball. So I want to see how this works for Denver. I think they could have got more bigs, as you mentioned, as well. But I want to see how this plays out. But I don't see them making too much. I think they could have done more during the offseason. So signing Russ, okay, cool. We know what Russ is, the prime Russ. I'm not sure if we still get that one. So like I said, those are my few disappointments and surprises. And I think the big surprise you'll probably go over also is the Los Angeles Lakers. One of the biggest things I did see is, we're used to seeing them playing man-to-man defense, right? Now we're starting to see AD actually move up to the key, up to the top of the key in that rotation defense, which is something that we've really was a shocker to me. We're not just seeing him stand on the rim, grabbing boards, guarding the big man. He's moving around. Now on the offensive side, this is the kind of offense that the ball is moving, right? You're not so depending on Anthony Davis or LeBron to get all the points. It seems like all these other guys are getting involved. The ball is moving consistently, and you can see the plays that are being drawn up. So I think that that was like I said, a huge surprise to me, big shocker. I want to see where it goes. I mean, like I think them starting off 3-0, which is a shocker, big time. But what can the Lakers do with this? Obviously, we know what LeBron is. He's not the LeBron of the younger LeBron. So I think that now we're going to see, who they lean on others to continue getting these wins. They're going to have to get these other guys in rotation and get them involved. So for me, the Lakers are a big surprise. And it's actually good to see that.
I think for me, look at the tip-off and all that stuff, kind of see how, things have been going so far early in the season. A lot of high-scoring games early on. Mm-hmm. And I kind of, wish the defensive – I know these guys are trying to pace themselves throughout the year on that, but sometimes I kind of wish the defensive effort is there at times. More, more, especially early in the year. I mean, a lot of these guys are fresh, all that stuff. So I think, I kind of wish, a lot of these guys had more defensive, pride early on and all that stuff. It's kind of like, You know, they kind of go into motions early, and they kind of like used to it being in the NBA for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But my surprises so far this year, I don't know where to go. You know, you got Cleveland and Boston, like you mentioned about Boston 3-0, but Boston been kind of smacking fools around on all that stuff. I was like, okay, they're picking up where they left off. You know, nobody really talked about them about champ, like, you know, they're the champs and all that stuff. I mean, we gave them their respect,
Mm-hmm.
but I think like after a week or so they won the championship, and how many the lore and all that stuff with Boston and the championships, you figure they be talking about them more. Or some of them, like, you know, popular players in the league, and Tatum and Jaylen Brown didn't get that pub like that. Instead, you know, like us and other in the major news markets, we're talking about the Lakers. Who are they going to hire? Is JJ Redick? Oh, they're going to throw a Hail Mary to Dan Hurley. You know, what's going to happen in Clipperland?
Mm-hmm.
You know, free agency came up. You know, Paul George. You know, where's he going to go? Is he going to stay with the Clippers and go elsewhere? You know, all this type of stuff. And the Celtics, you know, they're going to get that pub, and they come out 3-0. I'm pulling up their stuff. Bear with me just a second. They're 3-0. You know, beat all their opponents except for the Pistons the other night by double digits. You know, they got the Bucks on Monday on the 28th. The Bucks, who are kind of like 1-1, they all right, but you know, they are missing Chris Middleton for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But for the Celtics right now, the chance to kind of like pounce on these teams early on. You know, you got the Celtics on Monday. Wednesday, you got the Pacers, who won on 1-2. And the Pacers didn't haven't looked so hot early on. Tyrese Halliburton, where you at?
Yeah.
Where you at? So if you're Boston, hey, it's kind of early to send a message to everybody. I know Porzingis is out right now, but right now, Jason Tatum, make your early case for MVP. Jaylen Brown,
Mm-hmm.
make your case also for MVP as well. You know,
Right.
why can you not have two MVP candidates in the same team?
Right. Agree there.
So if I was them, hey, put some hurt on these teams early. And then after that Indiana game, you got the Hornets twice, the Hawks, who I got on my other laptop right beside me, playing the OKC Thunder, the Warriors, Nets, Bucks again, and that's on November the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So in that little stretch right there, D-Lock, if they come out without 2 or 1 loss, the Celtics are looking good right there.
Yeah.
If they come out at that little stretch like this, named out to y'all, 1 or 2 losses, oh, the Celtics are looking good. Barring injury and all that, but they're looking good right now. They are looking good right now. Another surprise for me, you say you Atlanta Magic. I want to stay within that division. The Atlanta Hawks.
Mm.
I didn't know what this team's going to look like after DeJounte Murray got, traded.
Mm-hmm.
The piece they brought in, I thought like, a somewhat like shit return. Sorry for my language. But right now they up on 1 against the OKC Thunder. Playing it tough. Look at the live stats right now. Trae Young, 15 points for him, who's been playing pretty well early on. 9 points off the bench for Roddy. Matthews got 8 points. 8 points for Okonkwo. So they're looking pretty good right now. Their first overall pick, Zachariah Richard, if I pronounce his name correctly. in the starting lineup, got 9 points. He looks pretty decent early on. So, and we always said this about Quinn Snyder. He get the best out of his guys, even though they're not superstar guys. But, you got a superstar in Trae Young. You got a nice, stretch four in Jalen Johnson. You got a nice couple bigs in Capella and Kwangu. I know we talked about in the past that, you got maybe keep one or the other. But if you can't hold on to those guys, unless you get like a nice big in return, you got to keep at least both of those guys, kind of keep some continuity there in that center position. Yeah. So I think the Hawks are not surprised to me early on. The Lakers, 3-0 right now. Looking very good. They get down, but they come back and fight. Is that no let down? If they go down or they have a lead, they let the other team, go get a big run, and Darvin Ham knows he's no timeouts and none of that. Stop the bleeding, kind of readjust things, all that stuff. It didn't happen much with him. With Redick, I think he recognizes that I need to at least be better than Darvin Ham. I think he kind of recognizes he got at least be better than Darvin Ham.
Right.
If I can do better in those things with this squad, I think they go a long way. Now, of course, some things got to work on. Watching the Sacramento game last night, I don't know if you watched it or not. Transition defense still needs some work.
Right. Yeah. Agree there with that.
I almost tweeted this during the game. Can we be done with Max Christie and play Dalton Connect more? I'm pleading, JJ. If you ever see this, I'm pleading with you, dog. I know Rob Pelinka gave me that contract, but still, I'm pleading with you. Play Dalton Connect more than Max Christie. Because I think Dalton Connect just kind of flows better. Christie, I don't know if he's watched or not. It's still like that filling out process with Christie.
Yeah.
It's not like other young wings we saw, like, Christian Braun. Yeah, we know he's a rookie, but you see the potential there, and now he's starting for the Nuggets. For him, I use him for example. With Christie, it's just still like, like a cow on ice at times. Still trying to get the filling out process there. So, that's my surprises so far. The Lakers right now, they're top of the West. I ain't trying to jinx it. So, so far so good. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. Going to the chat, Terry Rodriguez, shout out to Terry Rodriguez. Is the Lakers 3-0 start promising or just early in the season? It could be a little bit of both. It's promising, and plus it's early in the season. Like you mentioned about your disappointment about Denver. Can they find themselves? Joker's playing very well, but you kind of feel like, as everybody else kind of, lost their way a little bit. They lost to the Clippers the other night.
Oh, yeah. That was a big shocker knowing what the Clippers have right now without Kawhi. So for me, I think that's a game that they're gonna look in the future, like look forward and be like, wow, this is a game we should not have, lost, especially to an injured Clippers team.
James Harden had 23 points. Zubac had a double-double, 24-15. I think the big one was Norman Powell had 37 points. So if you playing FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever, if you had Norman Powell in your lineup, you took a cheap option on Zubac, you probably won pretty big today. And then Off the bench, Chris Dunn still hanging around the league, but he had 11.6 rebounds off the bench for the Clippers. So, for Steve Ballmer, kind of with those guys compete and stuff like that, they're going to do that, but I don't know how long it's going to last. They're going to be real about that. I think that's one that we got, we'll monitor throughout the season how long the Clippers going to last like this. And then, like, on the Denver side of things, Jokic had 41 points. Jamar had 22. Braun had 11. Then Michael Porter and Eric Gordon had combined 19 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think one thing, me and you texted this the other day about the Nuggets. I was like, I was watching. I know they got Sarge. Sarge is a fine player. I like him. But I feel like they need like another power forward there. And then it didn't hit me, kind of like what the Lakers did, keeping Max Christie there just because. I totally forgot they gave Zeke Naji a 4-year deal.
Giving out deals is what they do.
I said I totally forgot that. I was like, damn, they need like another veteran power forward.
Mm-hmm.
A very power forward that kind of, be strong, rebounding and stuff like that. Pick up the slack. I know they got Aaron Gordon, but y'all kind of get where I'm going with that. And now I thought, damn, they signed this dude to a 4-year deal. Damn, why is he not playing?
You got to get him in that rotation, man. I mean, I think the biggest thing too is they depend on so much on the Joker that everything is runs through the Joker. I think you get you somebody else that you put in that role. I think a big part. Another thing that I think they're missing too that hurt is losing KCP.
Yeah.
Right. You had that defense, defensive presence there. Now he's gone, but now you're probably depending more on Eric Gordon playing a little bit of defense. So that power forward position needs to be filled. You need Zeke to get in, but obviously the trade deadline is nowhere near close. But depending on how the season go with them moving forward, I definitely see them possibly looking into getting a power forward, another big man, because they struggled against the Timberwolves last year. Knowing Jokic had to go against the two guys and Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, you would think after that, their first thought process would be to get a forward, or another big man to come in and fill that role. But I mean, they like the group that they had, obviously being a few years away from having that national championship or NBA championship. I think now you got to kind of rebuild a little bit, add more pieces. Grabbing Russ, it was more so of a lateral move. Could be in a sense a thing that hurts them as well. I mean, I think obviously we know how energetic Russ is, but he's not playing the forward position.
No,
that's not happening. So you still got to fill that void. And I mean, it depends on how they build. But I think, like I said, losing KCP in a sense, replacing with Russ, and you don't have a power forward there. I mean, now you're asking Eric Gordon to do a lot more. And when you go against these teams, like a San Antonio or Lakers, you're gonna need somebody to come in and give that same energy that Jokic can give at that same size. If not, they might be in some trouble.
Yeah, and like I said, I mentioned I like Sarge, but he's not going. At certain games, he'll give you that production, but it's not like he's good for like stretching the floor and stuff like that. But if you need like a bruiser at that 4 spot, I don't think he's that dude for you.
Nah.
And then like Zeke Naji, you want Calvin Booth, and they'll probably want him to be like that, but you pay on his money and he's barely getting minutes. What are you getting? Your return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
I know they brought back DeAndre Jordan. I think they like him as a veteran presence. But I think,
he ain't getting no minutes.
he ain't getting no minutes. And, where's the contribution there? Can you use that roster spot for somebody that's younger? Because you got like a convinced veteran coming in on a cheap deal. Something. I just I think the Nuggets will be fine once the season get rolling along. But I just hoping, like you meant about Jokic, he damn near put the U.S. out of the gold medal game by himself. Damn near.
Right.
And now, you come here, turn around to the NBA season. I hope he don't overexhaust himself,
right,
to a point that when time comes to we need some points or whatever, he's too exhausted to give you that. And then you look at Jamal Murray, you look at Michael Porter to pick up that slack. And I'm not saying Jamal Murray can't, but you have a third star player that you paid big money to years ago, Michael Porter, really hasn't showed that he could be that dude that we kind of envision coming out of Mizzou. Well, that's not Mizzou, out of high school all those years ago.
And we talked about it. I mean, I think, we talked about it even when they were at the NBA Finals. You need Michael Porter to step up and be more consistent. Maybe that's the reason for not signing another forward, is saying, hey, we're expecting Michael Porter to show up, right? To make that big move. And my thing is, you can't just be a 3-point shooter. You got to be able to play some defense as well. But to your point, if you're asking Jokic to play a hell of a lot of defense and then come back and put up points on the offensive side, now that's where you have an issue. That's where Zubac kind of does what he wants, which in a sense we know that Zubac is nowhere near a comparison to Jokic at all. So it's just the setup, right? And you need your other role players to play, to play well, to play efficient. You talked about Christian Braun earlier. He needs to go ahead and step up and play better as well. But knowing, I said again, with the signing of Russ is that player that he plays like it's 21. Like he's on the court. You have to clear the court for him. That's how Russ plays. So to me, him and Jokic, how does that match? Right? How does that fit? Obviously, like I said, we know what Russ is. We know the triple double. We know all that. But how does it fit into the Denver Nuggets system? How can it work? So you're gonna need the Michael Porter again to step up, the Aaron Gordon to continue playing well, because you can't put all the pressure on Jokic. We know, the MVP that he's won and what he has done. But teams since the NBA Finals have planned to slow Jokic down, and it has worked. They're catching on to that. So now you have to make your adjustments. And, that means that your players, they got to play better, but also you got to look into, signing some more additions to ease that pressure off the Joker.
And they got the Raptors on Monday, and the Raptors, they got big man, but longy, lanky big man. They can throw at you. So it'll be a real interesting matchup. I think the more the things like can the guards of the Raptors kind of, keep up and all that stuff with Jamal Murray and company. Before we head to our first break, recent comments. Shout out to Terry Rodriguez. How you doing tonight, sir? Raf call out. Yes, sir. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome back to the NBA. Is back. Yes, sir. Great to be back. And the Sixers get their first win today against the Pacers. When we come out on the other side of things, D-Lock, that leads me to one of my disappointments. Yeah. Yeah, the Sixers. So when we come out after this break, we're going to dive a little bit into my disappointments, your disappointments, and then we'll just go from there and also talk about the WNBA and our final thoughts from there. But this is Fast Break, live for IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all sports, and we'll catch y'all after this break.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernick, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back here on the broadcast here for Fast Break for IE Sports Radio. Your direct for all is sports. I know we just ran our Chicago ad right there for one, Mr. Adam Carnick. I know he's sick right now after that Hail Mary from the Washington Commander game. I know he's sick. I was like,
crying. Crying.
Oh, you thought Caleb Williams had the matchup won and blah, blah, blah. And then you see that crap happen. I know he's sick. But
how
shout out to Adam
at the end. How he caught that
by himself. Oh man, I know he's sick. But shout out to Adam, very great dude for us here at IE Sports Radio. But I did promise my disappointments come off the first break. My disappointments, I'm not surprised by Portland. I think we know they're in clear rebuild mode. I just think, God bless Chauncey. If I was him, just don't let things get out of control that you can lose your job. That's the only thing for Chauncey. Get the both out of Scoot Henderson. I think that's, Murray, get the best out of him. Anthony Simons, shout out to him and Brandon Ingram, having the same baby mom, and then Brandon Ingram shooting the shot over him to win the game. That's like, oh my God.
Yeah, that one hurt.
I know that hurt.
That was personal. That was personal.
That was personal. Oh, I hope get one on this dude. That's probably what he said, but I'm just paraphrasing. But my disappointment come off the break, and Ralph Carlisle brought it up. The 76ers. We talked last week about, we know Paul George is going to be out. Right? There's no secret about that. He hyperextended his knee. We saw the injury. If you saw it, he hyperextended that knee. But I think that kind of shot himself in the foot. Joel Embiid said he's going to be out early on. And he said he's not going to play back-to-backs.
Yeah.
So I look at them as a disappointment because, man, y'all there, but y'all shoot yourselves in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
You went through the process. You went through the hashtag, the process, all that stuff. Knowing as well, Jahlil Okafor, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. And hell, Joel Embiid didn't play the first couple years. Now you feel like, it's Embiid, NBA MVP, Paul George.
Yep.
Finalists for MVP, gold medalist. Tyrese Maxey, young upcoming young point guard in the NBA. All that. NBA champion coach Nick Nurse. All that to say, what the hell, dog? They're 1-2 right now. They did beat the Pacers by 4, 118 to 114 over the Pacers. 45 points for Tyrese Maxey. So if you add him in your lineup tonight, you cash out pretty good.
Yeah.
17 points for Martin, 14 for Kelly Oubre, 15 off the bench for Eric Gordon. And then on the Indiana side of things, Halliburton, 22 points for him, 2 assists, which got to be better on his end. 14 points for Miles Turner. The rebound was lacking for him, so that's got to be better for him. And 10 points off the bench for TJ McConnell. So, yeah, they got the win. Maxey had 45 points. D-Lock, with Embiid out, Paul George out, how far can this team go for their championship aspirations?
I mean, for one, again, like I said the last show, I'm one of the guys that continuously have been asking, they blame Ben Simmons for that Hawks loss. Continued to. Ben Simmons did this and this. He's the reason why they could get to the NBA Finals. They couldn't progress. He's long gone now. Ben Simmons has issues in Brooklyn right now. I literally just seen the video. I think we just sent me where you got Orlando Magic fans call Ben Simmons an issue, and Dennis Schroeder is over here trying to protect him. So Ben Simmons is all in Brooklyn. Philly is still having the same type of issues. This is not going to be good. Originally, we heard Embiid say he's not going to play back-to-back games. Cool. We talked about that. We didn't like it. That's what he wanted to do. That's fine. He misses the first game. So in the back of my mind, he's going to put the next one. He calls out the next one. So I'm not sure what it is about Joel Embiid and the 76ers. It seems more so to me that they like the fact that they have the expectations. They just are not living up to them.
Yeah.
They're just doing it like they expect these expectations and these goals to just happen. Oh, well, we can sit a couple games and we'll find a way to get it done. It doesn't work like that. So for me, without Paul George, without Joel Embiid, you have Andre Drummond, Tyrese Maxey, who we know are, hell of a players. We remember what Drummond was when he was with Detroit. So you have something in Andre Drummond. You have Tyrese Maxey, who clearly is one of the better point guards in the league. You got Kelly Oubre, who is on and off. He can once he's hitting, he's good. But he's off, he's completely off. Eric Gordon is there. This team needs Paul George and Joel Embiid to make that championship run, especially how Boston's looking.
Yeah.
For them to make that move, again, not to be biased, but the Orlando Magic aren't looking terrible right now. They're actually looking pretty good. pretty darn good. So the East, as I said, has gotten pretty, a little bit more tougher. So they're going to need these guys. And in my mind, if they cannot stay healthy and get on the same page, I think Philly's going to have another issue. You had James Harden there. You had Ben Simmons there. You got Tyrese Maxey there now. You got Paul George there. So they need to get on the train and get going, because right now this is not off to, now obviously it's early in the season, but this is not off to a good start for them. We know they're in the East, where it's not the most, this conference is not totally packed. It's not very, very packed from, all from 1 to 8. It's not. So they should make the playoffs. But even still, this is the time that you can get that chemistry. And I think them taking that for granted, oh yeah, we're fine. And that's how I kind of take it with Embiid, saying, well, I'm not gonna play back-to-back games. I mean, you're talking like you won an NBA championship already, and you're on your way to another one. So for me, I think this team cannot win a championship without Joel Embiid and Paul George. Those are the guys that they need. Now, like I said, Tyrese Maxey is going to be Tyrese Maxey. But when they run up against the Boston Celtics, Milwaukee, not ready to put Orlando in there just yet, but those type of teams, when you run against those type of teams, they're going to give you issues. The New York Knicks that have players from 1 to 5. They have that 1 to 5 starting lineup, and then those two that can rotate, and they can keep it going with the chemistry. The Sixers doesn't have that without Joel Embiid and Paul George. So for me, it sucks, man, because you have the expectations for Philly. You see this big move to Paul George to Philly, and you're thinking, okay, well, this is the year that they can make that step forward, and they go backwards. Not only they're not stagnant, they're going backwards. So to me, I mean, I think in the next few games we're going to see Embiid start to play more, just how we see Boston look. They're starting to see what Boston is starting to create. And the more wins Boston starts to add, the more chemistry, the more dominant that they are, I believe Philly is going to have to get it together. Because if they don't, mind you, Boston doesn't have Porzingis right now.
Yeah.
So imagine when he gets in that rotation. They're dominating without him. So they're literally 6 to 7 deep, and they can continue to be dominant through the East, in my mind. Philly's gonna have to step up. They're gonna have to get on it, get the chemistry, because they should make the playoffs. Obviously, from what we've seen, I think with Toronto quickly is gonna be out for some time, so you're gonna see them drop off as well. Philly has a good chance to make the playoffs, but it's not about just making the playoffs with them anymore. They've done that. They've got to the second round. Now they need to get it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now they need to make a move to the NBA Finals, and for them to do that, they need Paul George and Joel Embiid.
Yeah, and just reading this article about Embiid and his absence so far, we don't know what the absence is about. Philly's keeping that hush. He worked out before the Raptors game, so I don't know what's the deal with him. I don't know if he did something to himself during the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
We discussed when we're doing the show on podcast form. I'm still kind of surprised that they, let him play in the Olympics. If he were hurt, I mean, we knew he was going in hurt. But if he's hurt like this, you sign Paul George, and like we got right here in the on the screen right here, championship or bust. If you do all this, resign Tyrese Maxey, you kind of make all these moves for these road guys. Keep it El Kelly Oubre, bring in Eric Gordon, and so forth. Caleb and the Martin twin.
Mm-hmm.
Why not protect the Golden Goose in Embiid?
Right.
Why not? You see what Boston did. They re-signed everybody, and you know what they are. You saw what the Knicks did. You know what they are. If you're going to get there, to the East, at least to the Eastern Conference Finals, you need your horses healthy from beginning to end.
Right. I agree.
Tariq Maxey, the way if he keep up the scoring and stuff like that throughout the season, you at least look in all NBA second, third team. No worse than third, in my opinion. If he doesn't make an all NBA team, I know it's early, but if Tyrese Maxey don't make an all NBA team, the voting process got to change. I'm sorry. Some of these folks got to lose their voting rights, whatever, for all NBA teams. Because if Tyrese Maxey keep this up all year, something was wrong. Now, we'll see when these guys come back. You know, and talk about Paul George and Joel Embiid, but you know, mainly for Paul George, kind of get some continuity with the new coach and all that stuff. We see what Joel Embiid can do with Nick Nurse and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We see Maxey does. I'm just kind of more to see what Paul George what he does in this system with Nick Nurse. And how he fits in the fold of things. And then also how the rotation is going to be with Paul George in there. Because right now they got Caleb Martin in the starting spot. Now you could alternate that between Martin or Oubre and move Oubre to the bench.
Ooh.
I don't know how that's going to flow. But, Oubre is kind of the better fit in the starting lineup because he can at least be that stretch four better than Martin.
You can bump him down, yeah.
Okay, if you look at it this way, that if you look at their starting lineup like this, Embiid at center, Oubre, George, Maxey. You could throw Kyle Lowry in there, but you could keep Martin out there. I don't know.
I mean, in my mind, one thing I would expect Eric Gordon to be the first one off the bench. Your 6-man guy. Probably would start Kelly, but again, they have to get this going. Like, this can't be something that they're trying to fit later on in the season. They got to get the chemistry right. You get your starting five, and then you figure out who's your sixth, who's your seventh man off the bench. Get that rotation, see where it fits. Also, we're talking about Oubre, Eric Gordon. What about Drummond? When does Drummond come in? When does he get in and get that run as well? So it's so much, and they have the roster. I mean, I don't think this is a bad roster. They got the pieces. I mean, you got Eric Gordon. You got your leadership in Kyle Lowry and vet in Kyle Lowry. So you have like a lot of pieces, right? But now you got to get the chemistry. In most sports and a lot of sports, that tells it all. And it goes back to what I said about Boston. Not to necessarily go back to them, but listen, if they continue getting these wins the way they are, they can be creeping into a 70-plus win season. And when you do that, you're moving through the playoffs smooth sailing, because your chemistry is there. So that is what Philly needs to get. So the fact that obviously, it's a long season, Philly needs to get that chemistry now. And this is where they need to get a lot of this chemistry. Put your guys in there, get it going. And okay, cool. You're not going to play back-to-backs. If that's what you want to do, fine. But get your chemistry at some point so who is your 8, who's going to be your 7-man rotation. Because we know during the NBA playoff, a lot of these guys we're seeing right now, guys playing, they're not going to play that much. I mean, I'm looking at the Hawks right now. Okongwu, Trae Young, David Roddy, Garrison Matthews, and Krejci is out there. Yeah. This team made the playoffs. Not a lot of these guys are playing. They're going to cut that rotation down to about 6 to 7 guys. So you have to get that chemistry and know what it feels like with those guys. Now, the good thing that the NBA have is it is a 7-game series. It's not just a 1-game series like the NFL or anything else. You have that. Hey, we got to win 4 games. Cool. But why not have your rotation know what it feels like to go through the whole season with? So I think that, like I said, for me, Philly has to get that, and we talked about it before. We usually do every year. We usually do our rankings per conference. This year we didn't, and I think it'd have been very challenging to put Philly at the top because we know the history of Paul George and Joel Embiid. Now that's a good group, but the history of them, injury history, we're seeing it now. We're not even a week in. We're barely a week into the NBA season. we got the 2 stars missing games already.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, as we know, you go into the season hurt, you're going to finish the season hurt. So where does this go? And then if that happens, who gets the blame for it? Who's going to take that fall? Whose issue is it? What's the problem? So again, I think, like you said, they're being hushed on what it is about Joel Embiid, which is something that we would love to know. But that this is a huge. I sent you that text message when I seen on Twitter/X that Embiid said he's not playing back-to-back games. Like, this dude talking like he Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan don't even do stuff like that. So again, to hear him say that, and the season has yet to start, it's kind of scary, man.
I'll leave it this caveat, and we'll talk about the Sixers throughout the season. I'll look at this caveat here with the Sixers. And you mentioned about the role players and stuff like that. If the role players found their niche and found their groove and stuff like that, and these other guys can come in and fit in like a glove with Drummond, Maxey, Oubre, and them, Lowry come in big minutes and stuff like that, or big moments, I think things would be gravy. But that's ifs and buts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like I said, we're on like 4 games in, so we'll see how things go. This team's nicely built, nice deep, need a little more size, in my opinion, especially that 4 spot. But if they can just find the continuity of those role players, I think it'll go a long way for them.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree with you there. I just need them to we got to get them in that. They got to get it together, man. Because I'm telling you, you see how Boston looks, and they don't look like. It seems like they're playing very confident, very confident. So you get this team on the road, it could be something to watch. We could be watching a hell of a lot of history right now.
I want to go to another way of my disappointments. And it kind of ties in with LeBron and Bronny. As y'all saw in the first game of the season, LeBron and his son made history. First father-son duo in the NBA to make, appearance and share time on the court and all that stuff. Great moment. Bronny, I think, took a 3-pointer and missed it. But the moment was there.
Right.
All that good stuff. D-Lock, I wish I had the image pulled up on it. And I saved it too. But, I don't know if you're familiar with this guy, Aaron Torres.
Aaron Torres.
Works at Fox Sports, podcaster. Mainly talks about college football, basketball, more of a college guy in that realm of things. Based out of Southern Cal. All that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I see him, yeah.
Okay. I listened to the show before. He has decent takes. His basketball takes. But he sent out a tweet on that fateful day. And I'll pull up here to everybody so see it. Bam. I know I'll being lazy and stuff like that. I had it downloaded, but this is what he said. As everybody can see it. I'll say it so you don't have to. There's nothing historic or special about Bronny and LeBron playing together. It's solely to sagitate the ego of LeBron James. Ken Griffey and Jr. felt special. That felt weird, staged, and honestly just awkward. Close quote. Not my words, ladies and gentlemen. That's the words of one Mr. Aaron Torres, who works for Fox Sports. He has a YouTube channel of his own, Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. So if you go to his page, Spotify, and look at the headlines, whatever, the captions for the titles of his show, you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably talked about it. Drag him on there. I'm disappointed in a sense, D-Lock, that. And I tweeted from our show's account right there on Twitter /X. I tweeted from there, like, the Griffies made it a point to be out there for that moment. They even said as much. We're going to be out there. They said that. And they took a picture with both the Jameses. So you can't have texts like that saying it wasn't special, in which, the first ones
pulled up.
Griffey Sr. and Jr. did the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a great moment. I don't think we'll probably never see it again in the NBA. I think I'll take it back. I think the only player who could come close to us, and if he's up to it, Carmelo Anthony. If he decides to kind of step out of retirement and kind of want to do it with his son, I can see that, but I doubt he'll do that.
Right.
Because he's been out of the game for a couple of years now, and I don't doubt he'll try to get back inside for that.
Get back in for that moment, yeah.
But other than that,
wow.
I right now, who knows down the line? Some of these guys having multiple kids and stuff like that, young, all that stuff. We may see it again. I don't know. We never know. But for LeBron and his son to make this moment, and kind of seemed like the disappointment kind of people brushing that off. It was just for like a couple minutes.
I mean, my biggest thing behind that is it sounds like he's, as we used to say, the early 2000s, he's drinking some haterade. I mean, to be real, I remember seeing that moment. And that probably is one of the coolest things ever, because you see, we talk about what LeBron is now. LeBron didn't give you 27 and 8 and 4 anytime he wants. So he's still that guy. You know what I mean? We ain't talking about a washed up. He's out there giving you 10 and checking out every 3 or 4 minutes. LeBron can still go out and get you 35, 40 minutes if needed. You know what I mean? So we clearly seen that against Sacramento. So for me, you're taking, arguably the greatest player ever, and you're seeing him still, in a sense, a little bit in his prime, playing with his son. You know what I mean? So that was the coolest thing. I think that the biggest thing that possibly made it, I guess, for him to say that maybe is because it wasn't as many minutes. You look at him coming in for 3 minutes and then he's out. But that still was one of the greatest things ever. And we're going to see at some point, an alley-oop from one to the other. It's going to happen. And that's going to be something that, many people cherish forever, is to see, dang, like, this dude is playing with his son, or this dude is playing with his dad, who is considered the greatest player ever, tossing an alley-oop to his dad. So that's something that speaks volumes, right? You got kids that been watching LeBron, and now they see not only LeBron, but they see LeBron and his son playing. I think one thing that really makes it very interesting to me, man, I really like seeing is the fact that before that, we remember seeing LeBron at games and seeing Bronny James as like like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Him sitting on the sideline, or them at the All-Star game, and Bronny James is literally just sitting there. Like, you take that moment and then you say, well, hey, like, that was years back, and now these guys are on the same team together. Like, we take where we seen him on the bench, and he's over here talking to Bronny as a 5-year-old, and now he's talking to me as a teammate. So I think that's one of the coolest things ever. I think another thing that I thought was super cool was the commercial, right? I think Bronny was walking to his car, and his dad was throwing all the cereal into the car. And then he goes there, and obviously it's filled with cereal. So he said, "Man, Rook, don't be late. Don't be late." So I thought that was like, one of the coolest moments as well. And at this point, man, like, if you don't think that that's like something electrifying, that you don't think that's super cool and historic, you gotta stop drinking the haterade, man. I mean, that's what it is, right? I mean, that's something that will always be talked about. We will get in our ages of 70, 80, 60, and we're going to be talking to our grandkids, and we're going to say, man, they'll say, well, granddad, who was LeBron James, or what was he like? Or they may be talking about Bronny James, right? And we can say, man, listen, I remember there was this moment, 2024, where I seen him and his dad play together. So Aaron Torres, I'm sorry, man, but you got to stop hating, bro.
Yeah,
Simple
I
as
was like, damn, dog. It's a great moment, man. It ain't like, he played like 20 minutes afterwards, and eating up don't connect minutes, and nobody, just a moment. Boom, we had the moment there. It happened, and next, they show Savannah, LeBron's wife. She saw the moment, got her pictures. Boom, she was gone. Okay, I see all I need to see. Bam, I'm gone. So it's like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. And then, after, the Lakers begin on this road trip here, after the road trip, Bronny's going to the G League.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, y'all sweating and all this stuff. Bronny getting a privileged spot. He going to the G League. What y'all tripping for? Going to the G League.
Yeah.
He's not getting men's over Dalton Connect this year. I can argue for Max Christie. I can argue that.
Yeah.
But everybody tripping about, is it nepotism, all that stuff? Like, kill all that noise, man.
I mean, like I said, you really gotta have some, as I say, some hate in your heart to feel some type of way about that, because I mean, seeing it, that probably was one of the greatest things we've seen. Like, you are one of the greatest to ever play the game, and you about to play with your son. Come on, bro. Like, now, granted, me and you talked about, we think he definitely should stay back in school, and I still think he should have. I still believe those things, but in this moment when you see it, it's still great to see. You know what I mean? This is still one of those moments of like, dang, like, that's like super cool to be able to see and experience live, not something that we had to look up, right? A lot of us didn't see Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was something that we heard about. You talk to your parents or your older uncle or cousin, and they will tell you, yeah, I remember seeing Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. together. Yeah, we seen that. We would actually just be able to see it live. Now, it would be even more interesting that would push this. And I would even say this. What if the Lakers win a title? Now you have another historic moment on top of that, right? So it's more to come with it. So I think Aaron, Mr. Torres is probably gonna have to keep his eyes peeled open, because there's a lot more historical moments that's gonna be going on throughout the rest of the season between those two.
Yeah, and to kind of put a bow on this, like Tanner Rodriguez brought up in the show, Lakers are 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
I think very early, exciting times if you're a Laker fan, like myself, like Mr. Rodriguez, he's one of them. I think it's very, exciting times for LA. I don't know what it is for LA. It's like right now the Dodgers are 2-0 in the World Series against the Yankees.
Ooh, yep.
And I watched that game one at the Halloween party I was at the other night. And that grand slam kind of snatched the soul of the Yankees, and we'll see how they bounce back. But the Dodgers 2-0 in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, Rams playing decent. Not the best, but decent. USC can be better. So if you're looking out in LA land, it seems like the good, I guess, juju going on. Maybe the Lakers found something with JJ Redick and company. Time will tell how things work. Nothing's guaranteed right now. Tomorrow they play the Phoenix Suns for their road trip. Can Phoenix get their lick back against the Lakers? We'll see. And speaking of Phoenix, I was watching them the other day, and Bradley Beal, D-Lock, he's already out of action already.
Don't remind me.
They play the Lakers tomorrow in a key game, another division game. We talked about this all last year, about the continuity and stuff like that group with Booker, Bill, and Durant. What can Mike Budenholzer do to kind of, what can Mike Budenholzer can do to kind of find the right mix until Bill kind of finds himself with this squad? Because, we're going to game 3 of the year and he's already out. What are your thoughts on him missing time like this already?
All right, so I'm going to look at double check their depth chart and look at this roster they have, because Bradley Beal is obviously a key piece. We talked about the so-called big three there. I believe Grayson Allen missed the game too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he had. I think what I read, he and his wife had a baby.
Okay, so for me, you're probably Kevin Durant is going to have to step up. He has to be that guy. It's amazing how we went from talking about how he was one of the best. We talked about him being one of the better players in the league. Better players ever. And since a few of these moves, he has kind of left those conversations. Devin Booker is going to have to step up as well. Now you're down from that big three to that two. You still have a Devin Booker and the Kevin Durant. Russell O'Neal, Grayson Allen, they're going to have to come in and play a big role. But they signed Tyus Jones for a reason.
Yeah.
They wanted that true point guard guy. And I believe Tyus Jones could be that guy. I mean, I don't think he played bad in Washington. I think he played pretty good in Washington and Memphis. Even in Memphis, being behind Ja Morant, he got the run. He played pretty well. But now he gets that start. So Bradley Beal could be out for some time. So, you got the guys like Monte Morris and Tyus Jones. Those guys are going to have to fill that role. But also, you still have your key guys in Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. With these two guys on the same team, there's no way that this team cannot be playing extremely well, right? You got Mason Plumlee and Yusuf Nurkic at the big. Also, don't forget they do have Bol Bol, who I think We've seen him in Orlando. He looked like he fit perfect there, how he was playing. Can he find a way into this rotation, right? So to me, we talked about it. We did our previews before years back. This team, when they had those three guys, that's one of the things that we brought up. Well, they got the three guys, but can they stay healthy? And that's the thing that is going to hurt this team. So for me, you're going to have to ask for Kevin Durant to take that bigger role for Devin Booker. And these are guys that were on the Olympic team. They were around the LeBron James, the Jason Tatum, the Tyrese. This team got a gold medal at the Olympics. So they should know what it feels like to win. They know what role they have to play. And I would think taking that role, they need to go ahead and use that with their own teams. So hopefully, like I said, I think, missing Bradley is a big piece, but you put a big three together for a situation like this, right? Now you got your other guys that can come in and play a big role. If it was me, I probably would start Russell O'Neal for that defensive presence, lean a little bit more heavy on Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. And boom, now you got something. Now you got something going. But they have to continue to stick to that. That's the problem is, these guys know that the pressure is on them to play well, yet they are leaning too much on the other guys, right? I know you got Russell O'Neal, you got Tyus Jones and Monte Morris, but this is Kevin Durant and Devin Booker's team. They got to be able to take the ownership and move forward and lead this team now that Bradley Beal is not going to be there.
Reading some tweets, Kellen Olsen, beat writer for the Suns, he says Grayson Allen is not on the injury report for tomorrow's game against the Lakers, so he may play, may not, depending how the baby's doing, all that.
Right.
And then Bradley Beal, right elbow soreness is questionable again. So he may play, may not. I don't know. Josh Okogie remains out for the Suns, so we'll see how that goes for the Phoenix Suns on that side of things. But D-Lock, we'll take our last break, and then we'll touch on the WNBA, and then we'll get out of here. But this is Fast Break here, live for iSports Radio, your direct feed for all sports, and we'll catch you on the other side. Hang on one.
Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a down south education on Florida sports and athletics. It's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen D, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back to hit the home stretch of the show. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fast Break here for IE Sports Radio, your direct for all in sports. And thank you for joining with us tonight here. So we dived in a lot tonight. Dive a lot, NBA wise. D-Lock, last week we talked about the WNBA championship.
Mm-hmm.
We thought, we're going live with it and stuff like that. And, me and you went different paths on that. That you had the Liberty winning, I had the Lynx winning. But the Lynx came out on top in overtime, 67-52. Your thoughts on the Liberty finally getting to the mountaintop and winning their first WNBA championship? Your thoughts on that real quick.
I think that was very important. I mean, I think that was needed. That was something that New York definitely needed. And it was well deserved. You know what I mean? Breonna Stewart, she didn't shoot too well, but she held her own. I mean, especially you can not shoot that good and have 15 rebounds. That'll do good for you there. I know it was one of those fouls was very questionable. But it was, like I said, it was all in all a very good series. I mean, they found a way to get that win. I just think that what do they do moving forward? Can they come back and try to repeat next year? But Liberty never had a championship, and for this to be their first one, that is a very good thing, especially in the overtime, right? It was battle testing, and they found a way to get it done. And I know, like I said, knowing that that's their first one, could they continue to get more? And I think that the good thing is, once you get one, it's not necessarily easier, but you get comfortable with winning. Now that's the expectation, is to be competitive. We talk about the Boston Celtics, the Lakers. These teams consistently win, and the expectation is championships. Once you get one, now you want to continue to do that. And they're just not getting started. If they continue to keep on this roll, hopefully they can continue going, man. I think, congratulations to Liberty. Definitely trying to see how they can continue to push forward.
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned about New York, for the city of New York, I think being championship starved, is a great thing for them. If you talk earlier, the Yankees in the World Series. Mm-hmm. So, and granted, they're down 2-0. You don't know how things are going to go in their favor, the potential next 4 games. Next 2, but this right. Series could stretch out. The Mets almost got there. The Jets, they're a mess. The Giants, they're a mess. The Rangers, Islanders, it's like one could be in a mess and the other could be just fine, or vice versa with them. But for the Liberty, besides, a couple dark, blunders, they've been kind of one of the more consistent teams ever since they came to their fold of things,
mm-hmm.
up in New York. And it's great to see them win their first championship. It's a long time coming. It's like, damn, their first one.
Yeah.
And congrats to the ladies. I saw them on Jimmy Fallon the other day. He gave them praise. They took a selfie with the city audience, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
The championship parade looked cool and all that. So, like you mentioned, can they keep up things? The league expansion is coming up. That's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Town's going to get more diversified. So how that's going to look for them down the road? Not just them, Aces, who's got like a strong core team as well. Connecticut Sun, Lynx as well. So I was thinking, like, can you, before the league expansion really take off, can you at least win another chip?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So, congrats to New York Liberty. I wish we had more time to talk about it. But also, before we get out of D-Lock, I did want to talk about this right here and talk about the WNBA. Kind of some surprising news, but Christy Sides gone from the Fever.
Ooh.
She was a head coach in the Indiana Fever. Um, took the team, to their first playoff trip in 2024. 2024. Excuse me. Since first time since 2016. I'll get my words out right. Led by the way one by one, Caitlin Clark, along with one, Aaliyah Boston around there too. So she's been let go from the Fever. Now reports are saying that Stephanie White, current head coach of the Connecticut Sun, may take the helm for the job. We'll see until it's official.
Mm-hmm.
But your thoughts on Sides being gone from the Fever? I know we talked about earlier, like they came out to a rocky start, but I think they found themselves. They kind of got through the early adversity with Clark and come off college basketball season and all these think pieces, all that stuff. Silly folks saying, Dave Portnoy's in the world and all that stuff, saying silly shit.
Right.
Now you got past all that. You had the Olympic break, and you kind of played pretty well after the Olympic break, and Clark kind of found herself. Your thoughts on this? And was it like a wise move to do this after Clark's first year with the Fever?
I think, in my mind, I think that they should have probably tried to give this more time to see how it meshes. It meshes. But my biggest thing is, we've seen multiple. Anytime we see a star player in any sport, the coach is let go. We always say, well, did the coach know? Did the star player know about it? Did they have input towards it? What was the thoughts behind it? And that's what's going to happen here with Sides. I mean, you have Caitlin Clark there, who we know is is a very good player. Did she have a thought process behind it? Did she have an impact or an opinion on them getting another coach or letting her go? So I think that they should have continued to let them build this chemistry. But again, they see the young player they have in Caitlin Clark, and they're like, oh, well, we got to change and build around this person, this athlete. So I'm very interested to see how this play out. Like you said, they're looking at Stephanie White, see what happens. And it's just crazy that it was thought about so soon, right? This didn't take a week or 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. This was something that they already had kind of put together. Sides get let go. Now Stephanie White is already the one that is expected to be coach. That's pretty fast. So this is something that was this is not something that came out of nowhere. This is far planned before. This has already been planned out at some point. So to me, I want to see how this plays getting a new coach. And this is the person that they were looking to already, maybe weeks back or even months back. But it's a big shocker just because, like I said, Caitlin Clark is just getting there, the expectation, and they're moving in the right direction. But to get rid of to fire her now, the pressure is on the next coach, who we say could be possibly Stephanie White. You still got a young player in Caitlin Clark, and there are expectations of what you need to do with that player, right? So for me, like I said, it's big time shocking. But now the expectation is whoever this next coach is to, get to that next level. We talk about different, like we talk about in the NBA. We talk about the JJ Redick going to the Lakers. Hell, they don't expect for him to coach very similar to Darvin Ham. That's the reason why they let Darvin Ham go. So now again, we'll see how this plays out, but it's definitely shocking that it happened so early.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's like, it's like maybe give another year, see how things go. you know. But then, like, you got another coach in mind, think you could take your team to another level. You got to make this switch now, and you can't just wait till Chrissy size lose the team. If you think Miss Coach White can come in and do a better job,
Right.
So, but I say this for Chrissy sides though. Not all lost in the world though. Like I said, the league's expanding. You got Portland coming down the pike, Toronto, and then you talking about either like Nashville or Denver to kind of complete the process. So for her, I think she'll bounce back. She'll find somewhere, maybe be assistant somewhere, and then just go from there. So it's not the end of the world for her, in my humble opinion. And plus, the Sky is still looking for a coach, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see how things is going up front. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us here on for Fast Break for IE Sports Radio. You can follow the show at Twitter as Fast Break at IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. D-Lock, where can they find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813 on Twitter/X. Let them know they can find you in the show's page.
You can find me at Twitter/X at Spawn4288. Also, I do have a show on the side called The Crooks Process. You can find that show on Instagram and Facebook. Follow see the CP logo, give me a like and follow on there. Do follow me on TikTok at Spawn4288, that same name right there. I'm going to change to The Crooks Process soon. So do follow me on TikTok on there. You going to play your TikTok real quick?
Yes, mine is also the same. It is Black-813. That is what my TikTok is as well. So both the same. Twitter/X/TikTok Black-813.
Also, check out iSportsRadio.com for all your latest shows, news, and feeds. Football season is well underway. The basketball's back up. Baseball season about to come to the end, but NHL is picking up as well. So do check out iSports Radio to get all the latest news and shows for your sporting needs. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll check you next week. More NBA talk. College basketball is up and running, so we'll dive into that a little bit more. But till then, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.